Hey everyone, and welcome to Where Did the Rest of Me Go? I am Dino the Genetic Marvel. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channels and anyone who you think might benefit from this video. This is me telling over the course of 30 days in a series of how I, changed the direction of my life. So far, I've lost 160 pounds and I'm doing my best to keep on going. I'm giving some information as to how I did it, some of the things I've learned, some of the obstacles I've overcome, some of the roadblocks I faced, and how I pieced together a way to get by it. Now, this up until now, we've been talking a lot about mindset and understanding and perspective and our feelings and how we interact with the world around us and for ourselves too. Especially people in my generation, a lot of times we felt guilty or selfish if we were treating ourselves nicely. But this week, what we started to do was talk about food. We started off talking about things like garbage. There's garbage you can consume, not just from your mouth, but also your mind, your ears, you know, your eyes. All those things factor in. Next, we talked about just knowing what it is you're consuming. I know that sounds like a ridiculously simple thing, and trust me, once you start doing it, you're realizing like, oh, why didn't I do this from the whole time? Because it's really not that big of a deal. Just the other day, we went to the grocery store and we were looking at fruit cups, right? And going through all the different ones, some have lower, some have higher amounts of sugar. Okay, pick the low one with the lower. It's already fruit. It doesn't need more sugar, right? So adding that little bit of context in the situation really helps with everything. So one of the things that definitely was key, and I believe there was an example on Modern Family where Cam, the the effeminate of the couple, he goes and when he wants to diet, he'll get rid of all the junk food and da, 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 and essentially it messes with your head. Okay, sugar is insanely addictive. Just to be very clear, as are many things that we consume. So I'll tell you right now, beside me, I have one, two, three, four boxes of snacks that we bought over the course of the pandemic, during, after, all this time, where it's like, oh, that's a good idea. Oh, that's a good idea. Oh, it's keto. It's this, it's that. Haven't touched them in months. Okay. Um, Now, can we throw them out? Not really. Okay. Because that's also, you get a little wonky in the brain, right? So the question arises like, how can we make little changes? So that's what we're going to talk about today is little changes we can make in our daily routine that slowly just become easier. Okay. Now for myself, as I said, I had non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. I guess I technically still have it. I think I'm okay now, but anyways, the fight continues. So one of those things or one of those factors was specifically that something that's really good in the morning was water with lemon. So before everything would be water with lemon, and not even it was just squeeze a lemon. My wife squeezes a lemon just to like 1 tablespoon of lemon, dumps it in some warm water, and I drink that. I try and drink that before I do anything else in advance by like half hour. It's good for your liver. Now, that's specific to me. I know a lot of people do stuff like adding ginger, garlic, turmeric, um, Himalayan sea salt and stuff. There's lots of different things that you can do, and there's a lot of different techniques of how it can better you. I would highly recommend it because about 15, 20 minutes, half an hour afterward, I'll have my coffee, which included in fasting, which I'm going to explain later. You can have coffee with heavy cream, no big deal. So that's an easy way to start my day before I consume any food if I'm not fasting or anything. But it kind of uh, it primes the engine, if that makes any sense. Okay, now that's not for everybody, right? People have different work schedules, different environments, different all sorts of stuff, right? But find something that's better for yourself. That's one of the keys because a little thing Definitely feel more refreshed drinking that every morning. Right? And that's, that's bias, but thank you, honey. So, but the idea is that when you, a lot of people, okay, think I have a shirt somewhere that says, "Don't talk to me before I'm on coffee, or I might murder you." Factual, but that goes a little further, right? Why do you need a caffeine boost when you just woke up? Seems odd, right? So little things like that, where you can make just small adjustments, will help turn things around, right? So, like for me, it was lemon water, not having milk in my coffee or sugar in my coffee. Then, and especially in the beginning when I was really starting to just trying to take down my weight as quick as possible, or to have a more impactful uh, result on my weight, was I was limiting portion sizes, but I was still having dessert. I was still having, a couple onion rings, a couple French fries. Um, for me, like we said, was with the liver, what one of the key things was refined flour. So I wasn't staying away from buns, but I'd still have chicken fingers, right? And that's the whole thing, is you can be a bit of a weirdo without being a monster in your daily life. Because number one, being a monster and being extremely difficult on yourself, it's just not sustainable. We're human, and there's no way you can prove I'm not human. Let's be standard. Okay, let's just be clear. But there's no way that we can sustain beating ourselves up on a regular basis, because that's just not. It's just not a good life, right? Um, People suffer from abuses in every way, shape, or form. If you're abusing yourself, it's not going to go well. So, in the same sense, is that trying to do little adjustments here and there, see what you're comfortable with, and run with that. So, for me, I love sugar and sweets and things like that. Why? Because I'm a big fat fatso. That's fine. So, I had to wean myself off and learn, but I was keeping track the whole way, trying to make sure that I was making progress. And some weeks it went backwards. I'll be the first to admit it. But realizing that that's not what matters. What matters is that you can pull yourself back. Okay, let's go back on track. This weekend, okay, had a little bit of anomaly, big things, lots of emotions, a lot of things happening. Okay, let's pull it back. Start new, start fresh. A couple times I missed a few days working out because I was just exhausted and didn't feel well. This whole emotional roller coaster I've been on, I didn't work out for a couple days. Okay. So when I finally did I try and do what I was doing before? No, you know what? I cut things down a little bit, a little less repetitions or a little less time holding a pose or whatever it was, just to make things a little bit easier, a little more success will help towards the progress on a daily basis. So those little things, making those adjustments, make a huge difference. For me, it was flour, refined flour, and then portion size. Two things. It wasn't what I was eating, but how much I was eating. One of the things I've learned was you cannot out train a good meal plan. But if you're not going to follow the meal plan, what's the point? I know for myself, if I decide I don't want to do something, you're not going to let me do it, or you're not going to convince me to do it. I'm way too stubborn and foolish. So, knowing and understanding what it is and why it is we're doing it will give us a better appreciation and understanding as to how to keep it going. It's one of those things where we have to, that's why I talked about mindset first, was because if we understand our own perspective and where we're coming from and how we're trying to deal with things, but also how comfortable we are with dealing with things, then we're better prepared to make little changes that are tolerable and acceptable for ourselves. If we don't, then it's only a matter of time before we betray ourselves. I know for myself, I've done it many, 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 many times. I don't think there's anyone thin, fat, small, tall, doesn't make a difference. Um, we've always had times where we let ourselves down, maybe to spite ourselves. I believe that's, kind of what the term is, cutting off your nose to spite your face, right? Doing those kind of things will always be impactful. So find a way to make it work for each other, right? There are times when my wife and I to her will be a bad influence. It happens. Uh, but then, you know, if that happens, then we got to discuss it, figure it out, and try and move forward because it's not an easy thing. It's a hard thing to do. So we have to figure out why it works, how it works, and what's acceptable. Once we find a few things that are acceptable, you'll find that changes become a little more palatable with each step. So for myself, it was starting my day off with lemon water, no problem. Then minimizing breads, pastas, all that kind of stuff, cookies, pastries. Even so, what I did was because I want dessert, but can't have carbs. So I like cake, can't have cake. So what? Cheesecake. Is it the best? No, but it was acceptable. And that took me on a different experience. And then I was saying, oh, well, no, it's cake. I can't have cake. I want cheesecake. As ridiculous as it sounds, it helps you better understand your wants, your needs, and your limitations, your boundaries. Because once you have a game plan for those, then you can really start picking things apart. Because then I said, well, how about we share a slice of cheesecake between me and my wife? Okay, it's fine. And I'll get a weirdo flavor like that she likes, like mango or something. Perfect. So finding a manageable interaction changes the likelihood that we will backtrack or fail ourselves. And that's why those little steps were integral. And if all all being said and done, even now, like I like nachos. I'm a whore for nachos. So I can't have regular nacho chips because those are made with flour from flour tortillas. But if they're corn chips, right, still not good, but acceptable. And I'll go, hey, I'll have some nachos. No big deal. I won't feel bad. I'm not injuring myself. And I could say, well, you know what? Tomorrow I'm gonna have a salad and stuff like that. So I can kind of balance it out in my own perspective. But that's helped me progress each day so that I made sure that I was comfortable because like we said, is people say, well, you have to get out of your comfort zone. No, who wants to be outside of their comfort zone? That makes zero sense. You want to be comfortable. You want to be enjoying this. If you don't enjoy it, you're not going to stick to it. That's why the small steps are important. How many times, I know for myself, I'm 6'2" and I'm as big as livestock. Okay. When I'm going upstairs and the stairs are really short, it's an easier walk. But also then I'll say to myself back, oh, you know what? I can take a couple steps at a time. I'll push myself. Why? Because it doesn't make any sense. But try a little harder. I'm like, oh, wow, get a little workout in there. Didn't feel bad. Taking the time to manage in our own emotions and then figure out the small steps we can take each day will change everything. At this point, now every time I want dessert, I just don't get it like I did on the weekend. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm not having dessert for another until I get to the UK. That's what's going to happen. I'm okay with that. Why? Because it's a calculated, rational process that I've subscribed to, and I made it myself. What am I going to do? Backtrack on my own thing? Absolutely not. That's ridiculous. So, the lesson for today is definitely the idea of understanding what things are okay and not okay with regards to those small little changes. Try them out, take the time, and figure out what it is that's a necessity or a demand of yourself, and that way you can kind of establish what is an acceptable small step each and every time, and that way build on that momentum. As I said, if you think this is beneficial for anyone else you may know, please feel free to share it with them. Also, I would appreciate any likes or comments and pointers or questions in the comment section. And as well, if you Google me, Dino the Genetic Marvel, I am on most social platforms. So feel free to like and subscribe to my channels. And that way I can keep on producing content and hopefully I can get this thing going and really share this information about my journey of losing 160 pounds and how I'm going to keep on going and change my life. Have a great day, everyone, and I will see you tomorrow. Well, I'll be back at 10 p.m. again. Bye.